The Book of Disquiet by Fernando Pessoa, Section 214. Again, I found pages of mine, this time in French, written some 15 years ago. I've never been in France, and was never in close contact with French people, so it's not as if I had a familiarity with the language that waned over the years. Today, I read as much French as I ever did. I'm older and more practiced in thoughts. I should have progressed. Yet these pages from my distant past denote a confidence in the use of French that I no longer possess. They have a fluid style that today I couldn't possibly achieve in that language. There are entire passages, complete sentences, grammatical forms and idioms that demonstrate a fluency I've lost without remembering that I ever had it. How can this be explained? Who did I replace inside myself? It's easy enough to form a theory of the fluidity of things and souls, to understand ourselves as an inner flow of life, to imagine that we're a large quantity, that we traverse ourselves, that we have been many. But in this case, there's something besides the flow of personality between its own banks. There's an absolute other, an extraneous self that was me, that with age I should lose my imagination, my emotion, a certain kind of intelligence, a way of feeling all of this, while causing regret wouldn't cause me any great wonder. But what am I confronting when I read myself as if reading a stranger? On what shore am I standing if I see myself in the depths? At other times I find pages that I not only don't remember having written, which in itself doesn't astonish me, but that I don't even remember having been capable of writing, which terrifies me. Certain phrases belong to another mentality. It's as if I'd found an old picture that I know is of me with a different height and with features I don't recognize, but undoubtedly me, terrifyingly I. Section 215. I have the most conflicting opinions, the most divergent beliefs, for it's never I who thinks, speaks, or acts. It's always one of my dreams, which I momentarily embody, that thinks, speaks, and acts for me. I open my mouth, but it's I, another, who speaks. The only thing I feel to be really mine is a huge incapacity, a vast emptiness, an incompetence for everything that is life. I don't know the gestures for any real act. I never learned how to exist. I obtain everything I want as long as it's inside me. I'd like the reading of this book to leave you with the impression that you've traversed a sensual nightmare. What used to be moral is aesthetic for us. What was social is now individual. Why should I look at twilights if I have within me thousands of diverse twilights, including some that aren't twilights, and if besides seeing them inside me, I myself am them on the inside and the outside? Section 216. The sunset spreads over the scattered clouds that dot the entire sky. Soft hues of every color fill the lofty spatial diversities, absently floating amid the sorrows on high. On the crests of the half-colored, half-shaded rooftops, the last slow rays of the departing sun take on colors that are not their own, nor of the things they light up. An immense calm hangs over the noisy city, which is also growing calmer. Everything breathes beyond color and sound in a deep and hushed sigh. On the painted buildings that the sun doesn't see, the colors are beginning to gray. There's a coldness in these colors, diversity. A mild anxiety dozes in the pseudo-valleys formed by the streets. It dozes and grows calm, and little by little, in the lowest of the high clouds, the hues begin to be shadowy. Only in that tiny cloud, a white eagle hovering over everything, does the far-off sun still cast its smiling gold. Everything I sought in life, I abandoned for the sake of the search. I'm like one who absent-mindedly looks for he doesn't know what, having forgotten it in his dreaming as the search got underway. The thing being searched for becomes less real than the real motions of the hands that search, rummaging, picking up, putting down, and that visibly exist long and white, with exactly 5 fingers in each. All that I've had is like this high and diversely identical sky. Tatters of nothing, tinged by a distant light. Fragments of pseudo-life, gilded by death from afar with its sad smile of whole truth. All I've had has amounted to my not knowing how to search, like a feudal lord of swamps at twilight, solitary prince of a city of empty tombs. All that I am or was, or that I think I am or was, suddenly loses in these thoughts and in that high cloud suddenly spent light, the secret, the truth, perhaps fortune, that was in some obscure thing that has life for a bed. All of this, like a sun that's missing, is all I have left. Over the diversely high rooftops, the light lets its hand slip away, until in the unity of those same rooftops, the inner shadow of everything emerges, like a hazy flickering drop. In the distance, the first small star glows. Section 217. All stirrings of our sensibility, even the most pleasant ones, are bound to disturb the inscrutable inner life of that same sensibility. Tiny concerns as well as large worries distract us from ourselves, hindering the peace of mind we all aspire to, whether we know it or not. We almost always live outside ourselves, and life itself is a continual dispersion. But it's towards ourselves that we tend, as towards a center, around which, like planets, we trace absurd and distant ellipses. Section 218. I'm older than time and space. Because I'm conscious, things derive from me, the whole of nature and the offspring of my sensations. I seek and don't find. I want and can't have. Without me the sun rises and expires. Without me the rain falls and the wind howls. It's not because of me that there are seasons, the 12 months, time's passage. Lord of the world in me which, like earthly hands, I can't take with me. Section 219. That locus of sensations known as my soul sometimes walks with me, consciously, through the city's nocturnal streets, in the wearisome hours when I feel like a dream among dreams, of a different sort. By the gaslight in the midst of the transitory sound of traffic, as my body penetrates the lanes and side streets, my soul loses itself in intricate labyrinths of sensation, all that can disturbingly convey the motion of unreality and faint existence, all that can demonstrate, not to abstract reason, but, and squarely and concretely, how the place occupied by the universe is hollower than hollow. All this objectively unfolds before my detached spirit. I don't know why, but I'm troubled by this objective network of wide and narrow streets, this succession of street lamps, trees, lighted and dark windows, opened and closed gates, heterogeneously nocturnal shapes which my nearsightedness makes even hazier, until they become subjectively monstrous, unintelligible, and unreal. Verbal snatches of envy, lust, and triviality collide with my sense of hearing. Whispered murmurs ripple towards my consciousness. Little by little, I lose my clear awareness of the fact that I concurrently exist with all this. That I really move, seeing little but hearing, among shadows that represent beings in places where there are actually beings. It becomes gradually, darkly, indistinctly unintelligible to me how all of this can exist in the face of eternal time and infinite space. Through a passive association of ideas, I start thinking about the men whose consciousness of that space and time was so analytically and intuitively acute that it lost touch with the world. It seems ludicrous that on nights, no doubt like this one, in cities surely not very different from the one in which I contemplate, there were men such as Plato, Scotus Erigena, Kant, and Hegel, who virtually forgot about all this, who became different from these people, and they were from the same human race. With what horrible clarity, even I, as I walk here and think these thoughts, feel distant, alien, confused, and I end my solitary peregrination. A vast silence, impassive to slight sounds, assaults, and overwhelms me. In both body and spirit, I feel sorely weary of things, all things, of simply being here, of finding myself in this present state. I almost catch myself wanting to scream because of a feeling that I'm sinking in an ocean of whose immensity has nothing to do with the infinity of space or the eternity of time, nor with anything that can be measured and named. In these moments of supremely silent terror, I don't know what I materially am, what I normally do, what I usually want, feel, and think. I feel cut off from myself, outside of my reach. The moral impulse to struggle, the intellectual effort to systematize and understand, the restless artistic yearning to produce something that I no longer fathom, but that I remember having fathomed, and that I call beauty. All of this vanishes from my sense of reality. All of this strikes me as not even worthy of being considered, useless, empty, and remote. I feel like a mere void, the illusion of a soul, the locus of a being, a conscious darkness, where a strange insect vainly seeks, at least, the warm memory of a light. Section 220. dolorous interlude. What good is dreaming? What did I make of myself? Nothing. To be spiritualized in night, inner statue without contours, outer dream without a dream essence.